Esports Group Favorite Omega Author, Chu Kinjian Copywriting. The Holographic Esports League is the show ground for the alphas. In order to get the pros and return to the game, the withered team Polaris actually recruited a wizard with the second gender of Omega. The little wizard sculpts Jade, standing in a group of tall alpha players without seeing his head, and from time to time he still pulls the corner of the captain Lin Mingfei's clothes. The whole league felt that the former demon king Lin Mingfei had fallen from the altar and would laugh at them and not pay for his life. Later, in the arena, they were tied into a string by Xiaotong with a restraint technique. The little wizard tapped their heads one by one with his staff, and said fiercely, "Apologize to our captain. If you don't apologize, you can send you all back to your hometown. If you apologize, I'll sing to you." The captives suddenly felt, damn, he is so cute. As the only Omega in the holographic esports industry, Xiaotong is not only the mascot of the P team, but also the object of all the teams who want to dig a wall. Fans and sisters run everywhere. On the second day after winning the league championship, a suit and leather alpha knocked on the door of the P team club. "Xiaotong is my lost bespoke partner. Please return it immediately and let him go back with me to have a baby." Lin Mingfei's naked upper body, blocking the door with smoke in his mouth, powerful pheromone like a mountain whistling tsunami. "Do you have the guts to say it again? Number let the group pet of the whole league give you back to have a baby, have you never been beaten? Number moreover, he is now Lao Tzu's Omega. The handsome man who looks calm but cuts the black is more beautiful than X who looks silly but fights super fiercely. 1v1, Su Shuangtian, don't tell me if you discard the article, thank you for your respect. The rules of the social system and the game are all nonsense. Please be fattened, you may die if you raise it." Content tag: Fantasy Space has a soft spot for competitive sweets search keywords. Protagonist: Lin Mingfei, Xiaotong supporting role, pick up the file. What a coincidence, you are also an endangered species for collection others, pre-collection of after the evil spirits become my favorite one sentence introduction, the more fans the face, the more fierce the fight conception. Judging people by their appearance is easy to overturn author's brief comment. Omega Xiaotong, who was raised by the Zheng family, was trapped for many years without contact with outsiders. She accidentally met Lin Mingfei, the legend of the holographic online game. The two hit it off. After Xiaotong awakened, she resolutely left the Zheng family and chose to be independent. Talented Yibin joined Lin Mingfei's team Polaris, starting from scratch with his teammates in the dust, working hand in hand to break preconceptions and win the championship. The language of this article is humorous and fluent, the interaction between the protagonist and teammates is humorous and vivid, and the game plot is ups and downs and fascinating. It not only writes the protagonist's innocence and cuteness, but also highlights his hard work in breaking gender stereotypes and overcoming his own shortcomings. It is novel, the story is sweet but not greasy, and the theme is positive, which is worth reading. The saber-toothed tiger's tactics are too radical. Now there is only a blood-stained Dylan. The state of the wizard on the opposite side has gradually returned to full with the restoration of the elves. Dylan can't harvest it at all. The wizard of Bean is a well-known explosive wizard. Once Dylan he would die if he touched it. OMG! Dylan leaned towards Do. This action was tantamount to a moth to the fire. Dylan and Do had a shot in the face. Oh my god! Do's shield was broken. Dylan is making up again. The residual blood of Beans. The elf is too late to add blood. Oh my god! Dylan directly took away the blood-full Beans in all 3 consecutive attacks. This set of operations is so beautiful. Devil-like accuracy. Lively play the hunter into a real battle tank. Cheers all over the room. This is the recording and broadcasting of the National League Finals of the King Tombs that has just ended. The hunter of the saber-toothed tigers, Dylan, changed his life against the sky and became a in the first battle. Since then, the gameplay of the hunter's face sniping has become popular, and the barrage is densely floating. The praises such as D God Nyubi, True Melee Dylan, Style 3 consecutive Sniper Tiangziu and so on, are dizzying. However, at the bottom of these thick and beautiful words, one or two untimely content drifts in due course. Isn't it invented by Zero? How did it become the D family? Zero used it when it opened up the White Snow Palace 2 years ago. D powder is plagiarism, right? Dylan's fans were in the mood. Seeing this, KY immediately started a scolding war like chicken blood. Plaguing your mother and spreading rumors to kill the whole family. Please don't compare the weathered person with God D. Thank you. Who is Zero? Never heard of it. The old man who is too angry should take care of his old age, so he shouldn't come to the heat, okay? The team has been dismantled, what are you looking forward to? Save your Z fans. Yes, will Lin Mingfei come back to fight the Wang Tomb? The bottom barrage has no quality. Z fans have no quality. Friendly reminder, shield the bottom barrage. D God is the most handsome, D God is the most handsome, D God is the most handsome. The teenager lying on the lazy sofa sat upright, the bright sunlight shining on his delicate face through the floor-to-ceiling windows, as white as milk. He bit his pink lower lip, held the computer and knocked in the search box. The keyword of Zero Snow Palace. Just press enter. A small AI robot with a round head and round hands resting on the bedside suddenly turned on 2 eye lights and reminded with a flat voice, Xia Tong, Zhang Linghuan is going upstairs. The teenager pouted, Pop closed the computer and quickly pushed it under the bed, unplugged the charging cable, twisted it into the pillowcase, and took out a small electric fan from the drawer to face the hot patch panel fiercely. Blow to cool down. 10 seconds later, a tall alpha wearing a shirt and trousers pushed open the door of his room. Zhang Linghuan was bombarded by his parents with text messages before remembering that today is the day he took Xia Tong to the hospital for a review. At that time, he was sitting on each of his thighs with a little fairy with heavy makeup, one unzipped his pants and the other kissed him. That's a hot and vigorous one. Let him go home or something. It was very cruel at the time. Zhang Linghuan had a long cool breeze on his return journey before he realized a question. He didn't go home for 3 days, and Xia Tong didn't even call to ask if he was busy surfing the internet again. In Xia Tong's eyes, Zhang Linghuan didn't even have a network cable that was attractive. He said that custom Omega would be white and beautiful and considerate. Zhang Linghuan's self-esteem as alpha was stabbed. He didn't allow Xia Tong's bedroom to lock the door, so the door opened as soon as he pushed it, and the warm sunlight filled the attic. The beautiful Omega boy was leaning on the bedside under a thin blanket, quietly holding a world-famous book, well behaved. JPG. The bridge of the nose is tall and delicate, the lips are pale pink like petals, the amber pupils are watery, like a little deer running in the forest, the eyelashes are long and thick, the roots are distinct, and the innocent and delicate fluttering. As the top limited edition, Xia Tong is white and beautiful. No matter how little fairies makeup and plastic surgery, they can't match it. At this moment, Zhang Linghuan feels that his huge sum of money is worth it. But it is true that Xia Tong is not considerate. Zhang Linghuan squinted his eyes and walked in, looking around the furnishings in the room. His tone of voice was not good. Are you watching that ghost game again? The ghost game in Zhang Linghuan's mouth is the holographic online game King's Tombs that is currently popular at home and abroad. Xia Tong only recently learned to surf the internet, and he fell into the pit of holographic esports. Of course, Zhang Linghuan would not allow him to play games. Xia Tong could only watch the game videos and enjoy himself, but even then Zhang Linghuan was still not satisfied. Xia Tong knew that Zhang Linghuan did not like him watching videos related to the Tomb of the King and did not like him mentioning topics related to the Tomb of the King, although he did not know what Zhang Linghuan liked. No. He shook his head into a rattle. Zhang Linghuan watched coldly, and stepped to the socket to test the temperature. Cold. Xia Tong turned a page pretending to be nothing. Zhang Linghuan was suspicious, but couldn't find a place for the attack, so he took the coat from the hanger and threw it to Xiaotong. He said impatiently, "Get up, follow me to the hospital." With the rapid development of science and technology, human desires are also increasing day by day. Gene customization has become a grey industry in the upper class. Alpha, who has money and power, spends a lot of money on genetic companies to select sperm for future generations to give birth to better offspring. Nurturing with eggs to produce beautiful or smart Omega, you can also directly select the finished product from the Omega children that have been born, and then take them back to become the daughter-in-law of the child. Xiaotong was the one with the best IQ of the Omega Lippi and was taken home by Zhang Linghuan with a glance. Zhang Linghuan is older than Xiaotong. After entering puberty, he drools at his little child's daughter-in-law every day. However, Xiaotong's reproductive cavity is not fully developed, and his parents are afraid that he will prevent Xiaotong from giving birth. I was able to wait, boil, and the result was a bad news. Normally, the reproductive cavity of Omega in puberty should be as big as a fist, but from the imaging report, Xiaotong's genital cavity is only as big as a soybean, and it has not made much progress for several years. The doctor said that this may be a congenital malformation. This news was like a bolt from the blue for the Zhang family. Since then, Zhang Linchuan's eyes at Xiaotong have become weird, always feeling that Xiaotong is like a dummy with an empty appearance. The two elders of the Zhang family did not give up and asked Zhang Linghuan to take Xiaotong to check regularly. Xiaotong didn't know much about these things about the Zhang family. In fact, the Zhang family didn't need his consent to make any decisions. He had been a cage bird in the Zhang family for many years and lived in a small attic. With the unpalatable pregnancy meal preparation matched by the nutritionist, the only friend is this AI robot called Deben. The knowledge of surfing the internet is learned from Germany. Xiaotong changed his clothes, light-colored knitted jacket and washed blue jeans, fresh sunshine, neatly rolled up the trousers, and a thin and smooth ankle appeared between the white sneakers, and the white one was almost transparent. He climbed up to Zhang Linchuan's car, fastened the seat belt silently. There is a vase Omega sitting next to the feeling not bad. Zhang Linchuan's complexion was slightly dark and he started the car. The two were speechless. Xiaotong held Deben to watch the scenery, and from time to time he touched the platinum restraint bracelet on his wrist. It is a slow-release pheromone inhibitor to prevent Omega pheromone from causing disturbances in the crowd. When the car drove to the central hospital, it happened to be punctured by an ambulance. Zhang Linghuan was forced to change lanes and angrily smashed the steering wheel. Xiaotong didn't say anything, but only when he didn't see Zhang Linghuan angry, he left Zhang Linghuan going around for a long time. Stopped the car. Zhang Linchuan's patience was obviously on the verge of exhaustion. After getting out of the car, the pace was so fast that Xiaotong couldn't keep up. She trot into the emergency room and was almost sent away with a scent of nose. The compulsory popularization of contemporary restraint bracelets has successfully restricted the release and interference of pheromone. Alpha and Omega can get along with each other peacefully, but the emergency room is full of blood. Several nurses are doing CPR for those Alpha who have been in car accidents, and the stretcher is advancing all the way. Emergency room. The strong blood engulfed the Alpha pheromone and made the air choking. Xiaotong's legs fell on the ground, suppressed and straightened. Zhang Linghuan. He cried out in silence. Zhang Linghuan didn't know where he went first. At this time, a steady and crisp sound of footsteps stood out from the crowd and quickly approached. Before Xiaotong could react, she was covered by a mask, and those terrible smell molecules were instantly blocked out. The elastic cotton rope gently rounded his ears and flicked to tighten them. The man's warm and slightly rough fingertips touched his temple skin like water, and Xiaotong's breathing became smoother. He was in the original. The ground slowed down for 2 seconds, and was helped by the man to stand up. Have you seen that way? Pheromone filter mask, dedicated to Omega, remember to get one next time you come to the hospital, it's free. The man's voice was low and soft, and his arm was pointed at the corner. There are many emergencies in the hospital. If you don't remember, let the family remember, otherwise it's easy to happen. Almost everyone around Omega has a mask in hand. Thanks to this kind brother, Xiaotong is now in the group. Most of his face is behind the mask, and he let out a low "oh," his eyes turned and raised. In the eyes is the superior chin line of this kind big brother. His Adam's apple vibrates slightly when he speaks, neat and like a marble statue, a pair of sunglasses on the bridge of the nose. Through the dark lenses, Xiaotong feels that the other person is looking at her. Her eyes hang around for several times, until the collar in the ophthalmology ward lights up. Lin Ming Fi number 15, please go to the expert consultation room number 9 for treatment. In this chaotic room with alpha pheromone, Lin Ming Fi not only did not wear a mask, but also had an air of calmness, thanks to the more advanced and powerful alpha gene, and his pheromone has never been the only way to suppress others. The skeleton of this little omega in my hand is one size smaller than that of all alphas. It feels fragile in my hand, but it looks very beautiful, especially the eyes, watery and moist, like an inexperienced person. Small animals. Lin Ming Fi is not at ease. Do you need to call security for you? The effect of the mask was immediate. Xiaotong's discomfort was reduced a lot, and he was happy again. No, thank you. The big eyes of the young deer Bambi-like bend into the shape of a crescent moon. They are charming and charming. No matter who looks at them, they will be in a good mood. Lin Ming Fi raised his lips, then I will go to the doctor. Be careful. The two said goodbye in place. Xiaotong hugged Deben and walked for a while, but was hit by Zhang Linghuan, who turned back. What's the matter with you? Walking so slow? I've been looking for you for a long time. Zhang Linghuan said impatiently, rudely pulling him to stride forward. Xiaotong rolled her eyes at the back of his head. Zhang Linghuan is not a good crop, and he rarely confronts Zhang Linghuan hidden. One is because there is German support, and the other is because he doesn't think it is necessary. Either he was afraid, or he felt unnecessary. Zhang Linghuan always looked like an incompetent gorilla in his eyes. Xiaotong took a shot. Zhang Linghuan took the film and couldn't wait to see the obstetrician for the results. The doctor glanced at the film and didn't say anything. He looked thoughtfully at the beautiful young man sitting quietly at the table. The soft chestnut hair became a bit messy because of the hasty rush, but the delicate little face was full of ignorance. The doctor suddenly felt distressed and touched Xiaotong's little hairy head affectionately. At the age of 17, the genital cavity hasn't developed yet. Basically, it is unlikely to develop. Xiaotong was a little hairy after being touched by the doctor. He wondered if he should be a little sad, because Zhang Linghuan seemed to be about to explode. Zhang Linghuan really shot the table. It's been a year, how could he not be long at all? You can't make sure of the film. The doctor looked at him obviously a bit more contemptuous, but due to his professional ethics, he still patiently said, although the film has errors, it is basically negligible. If you have to measure the precise volume of the genital cavity, you can only do it invasively. Checked it out. Then do it. Zhang Linghuan said. The doctor thought he had heard it wrong, and he intended to irritate this difficult family member, because most of the alpha would give up because of his distressed partner when he heard the invasive examination. But Zhang Linghuan didn't seem to be joking. Invasive examinations are more troublesome. The doctor looked at Xiaotong hesitatingly. My kid, I'm asking for your opinion. As soon as Xiaotong was about to speak, Zhang Linghuan robbed him of it and said, in our family, I have the final say, do it, and do it now. When it comes to this, the doctor can only prescribe a doctor's order with a blank face, then you do it painless or ordinary. Zhang Linghuan frowned and said, doesn't you have to take anesthetics if you are painless? I heard that there are sequelae of anesthetics, and you will become idiots when you give birth to children. The doctor looked at Xiaotong with question marks, and the shock in his tone was self-evident. is he really your target? Xia Tong finally understood a little bit, her delicate brows frowned, and angrily pushed Zhang Linchuan's arm. I'm afraid of pain, I want to hit. If you say that you are not allowed to fight, you are not allowed to fight. Zhang Linchuan shook him off, swiped and signed the words impatiently, and urged impatiently, hurry up, I don't believe you, you are really a congenital deformity. Lin Mingfei moved his eyes from the tester, and without the cover of sunglasses, his long and narrow phoenix eyes were beautiful, and the corners of his eyes were deep, and they looked steady and sharp. Good recovery, all well. After retirement, the old academician rarely came out for consultations, wearing reading glasses and writing the case inflexibly. Can I write you as a classic case in the textbook? Just don't write your big name, I don't want to go back to the profession and be said to be miserable. Lin Mingfei shrugged. Are you ready to go back to work? I heard that your profession is changing very quickly. The old academician raised his eyelids. It's fine if people don't have money to make a living on this. What do you do if you don't need money? Be careful of relapses. You can't rest after 2 years of rest. Organic diseases are better than mental illnesses. If it's a big deal, I'll get you a cut. Lin Mingfei said softly, you know how to holographic esports. My grandson likes it. Before he went out, he was still saying that the 3 consecutive snipers were blah blah invented by Zero. The old academician smiled, I don't understand. Zero should be a person, right? Lin Mingfei pressed the corners of her lips slightly, seemingly emotional, and then smiled inconspicuously. Probably. Leaving the consultation room, Lin Mingfei pinned her sunglasses on her neckline and did not wear it again. The world is clear and unharmed in his eyes, and the colors are colorful, and he hasn't seen all this in 2 years. 2 years may be just a flash for ordinary people, but for an esports player, it is long enough to be forgotten by the entire industry. He took out his mobile phone and checked WeChat. Everyone in the list changed the prefix. He pulled it from top to bottom. Except for himself, he didn't see a single Polaris. The catastrophe was imminent and flew separately, and withered completely. It is estimated that no one will believe that this is an ace team that used to watch the world. Lin Mingfei pursed her lips and poked a name without any prefix. Polaris Zero patted timer and said, my dear, how good you are. Lin Mingfei. Why is she getting more and more sassy? Polaris Zero : wait for brother Lin to find me. Polaris Zero : yes, I will clear the schedule for you now. Lin Mingfei raised his lips slightly, and threw the phone back into his pocket. As soon as he looked up, he saw a familiar figure standing in front of the examination room. Xia Tong hugged the pink AI robot motionless, his head drooping, his whole body exuding an aura of grievance. The nurse in the examination room couldn't bear to urge him. In fact, facing the no painless application form, this handsome little O was already heartbroken. At this time, a young alpha wearing overalls and casual sweater approached, folds his pockets in one hand, and leaned forward to say hello to Xia Tong. Hey, I'm seeing you again. This alpha had shoulders wide and long legs, and he looked handsome like a male star. The nurse couldn't move her eyes for a while, so she could only raise her hand to cover her slightly hot face. Xia Tong looked up. Hey, what a coincidence. He bent his eyes and smiled, and soon his face darkened again. Lin Mingfei looked at the nurse. What's up with him? The nurse only regarded the two of them as friends, and started to complain as if pouring beans in a bamboo tube. This little cute object is not as good as a beast. Forcing him to undergo an invasive examination, he is not allowed to take anesthetics. The little cute is afraid of pain and has no money. Know what to do. Lin Mingfei took the application form from the nurse and glanced at it, recalling how little O had been choked by alpha pheromone in the emergency department but was left unattended, frowning her eyebrows. In this way, you sign the painless consent form yourself, and I will pay you the cost of anesthesia. He thought for a moment and said to Xia Tong. Hey! Xiaotong raised her eyes in surprise. His small cherry-colored mouth opened slightly, and the water vapor in his eyes seemed to overflow. It was really soft and cute. Lin Mingfei nodded, and his tone became more gentle. What's wrong? Are you alpha? Xiaotong stared at him, her chocolate-colored pupils gentle and focused. Yes. Lin Mingfei laughed. The same as alpha. Why is Zhang Linghuan different from you at all? Xiaotong said to herself. Lin Mingfei really doesn't know how to answer this question. He just thinks this little Omega is stupid. People are different from people. It won't be strange to see more. Xiaotong was silent. Don't worry, I won't tell others. Lin Mingfei said. I'm not worried about this. Xiaotong lowered her eyes, and an invisible rigidity was injected into her clear and bright voice. I was just thinking about why he asked me to do the test and I had to do the test. He didn't let me use anesthetics. I can't use anesthetics. Why? He was holding the little robot's arms tightly bent. I won't do this check, I'm going to ask Zhang Linghuan. Good duck, good duck. I support you to ask for an explanation. The nurse was already filled with righteous indignation, making a fist excitedly. If it doesn't work, just dump him. There are so many good alphas in the world, not bad for him. This one by your side is not bad. Cough, I don't have to. Lin Mingfei couldn't laugh or cry, and coughed softly. Come on, little cute. Xiaotong was inspired, and bowed deeply. Thank you sister nurse, and thank you. He spoke to Lin Mingfei. What am I going to call you? Lin Mingfei, Shuang Mulin. Big brother Lin. Xiaotong smiled with two pairs, then I'm leaving. He turned and ran away, but the crisp Big brother Lin lingered in his ears for a long time. Lin Mingfei looked at his back and raised his hand to touch his heart. Itchy. Xiaotong trot all the way, and happened to ran into Zhang Linghuan making a call at the end of the corridor. The corridor was empty, and the content fell into Xiaotong's ears. Mom, I said earlier that there is no embodiment of wisdom and beauty in the world. Xiaotong is a defective product and hasn't run away, just as all the money has been lost. Anyway, I can't give birth to a child. Why don't you let me play and drive him away if I have enough? Are you afraid of abandonment? It's useless for him to sue the Omega Conservation Association. Didn't my dad know someone there? Xiaotong's eyes condensed slightly, he pouted, and moved over in small steps, and said flatly, Zhang Linghuan, the report says it will take a week to come out. Zhang Linghuan cut off the phone. There is no doubt about him. So long? What did you eat in a broken hospital? Yeah, the efficiency is so low. Xiaotong seldom echoed with a subtle expression. The two went back home, and Zhang Linghuan answered a call halfway through and said that he was going out for a drink, so he threw Xiaotong at the intersection. Xiaotong trot home and pulled out a suitcase from under the bed. As he packed his clothes, he asked solemnly, Deben, why are they so comfortable with me? Deben turned back and forth on the ground, stretched out his round hand at him, quacked, because you are not powerful enough, you can only rely on them. Nonsense! Xiaotong was angry, her cheeks bulging. I want to run away from home. I don't want to cling to them. But you don't have the ability to survive, little canary. Deben opened it mercilessly. Xiaotong hummed softly, and with a clever idea, he ran into Zhang Linghuan's room. Zhang Linghuan is a prodigal, he likes to buy all kinds of luxury goods, but he likes the new and dislikes the old. The old goods are piled up in a drawer together, and they will fall out if they are left unattended for a long time. Xiaotong poured all the cufflinks of the famous watch into the suitcase. He also left a note for Zhang Linghuan, with a miserable and humble tone, and falsely expressed the central idea of I don't need you to get out of the house by myself and I will be sunny if you are well. According to Zhang Linghuan's personality, it is estimated that this pile of old things was lost several months later. Let you bully me. Xiaotong didn't feel guilty and brought all his credentials. He walked out of the Zheng family's gate unhurriedly, and somehow felt that the air outside was much fresher. He has a special ability. He can always quickly get out of depression and become happy. Do I look like an independent and mighty Omega now? He asked Deben vowedly. It's not like. Deben flickered the LED light and replied seriously, like a Disney princess on the run. For the first time, Xiaotong had his mobile phone number and bank account, and under the guidance of Deben, he also bound quick payment. In the Zheng family for more than 10 years, he has never stepped out of the Zheng family community except to see a doctor. Walking on the bustling streets, Xiaotong is full of curiosity about all new things. In fact, he is not only curious about the outside world, but also by passers-by. He is also full of curiosity and attention. At first, Xiaotong didn't feel that he was focused by his eyes, until he was buying ice cream on the side of the road, and the aunt directly dug 2 ice cream for him, and the love was almost overflowing from his eyes. Xiaotong licked the sweet ice cream while feeling overwhelmed in her heart. Deben, Auntie didn't ask me more money. She is about to twist your cheeks. Deben said. Xiaotong, who was licked, didn't think there was anything wrong, and was quite happy. He passed by a window selling electronic products and saw several large LCD screens simultaneously playing advertisements of energy drinks. A young man in a camouflage uniform ran in the dense forest with a gun on his back, then paused to shoot with the gun, and bang, a monster rising from the horizon in the middle and far. The monster fell to the ground, the morning sun rose, and the scene soundtrack made a commercial blockbuster. The magnificence, the man took a sip from the energy drink and smiled evilly at the camera. Dylan's special drink, recommended by Dylan, makes every strike stronger and more precise. The oiliness of this handsome Dylan was comparable to Zheng Linghuan. Xiaotong swallowed and heard someone screaming passionately next to him. God D is so handsome. I'm going to be pregnant. I'm going to give birth to a monkey for God D. It was 2 girls in school uniforms and short skirts, who were not very old. Xiaotong hugged Deben and whispered, "Can I get pregnant like this?" Deben, this is a rhetoric to describe the other person as sexy. Xiaotong doubted, is he sexy? As soon as the voice fell, 2 death rays shot from his body. Don't speak ill of God D. D God is the most handsome man in the world. Xiaotong was sprayed with spit on his face, and his eyes couldn't open any more. He didn't dare to say anything, and he didn't dare to ask anything. Only when the 2 brave young girls left did he free his hands and wiped his face. It's so fierce. He said pitifully, I obviously didn't say anything. Dylan's fans are like this, you just get used to it. Xiaotong looked sideways. The speaker was a woman in her 20s with delicate makeup and a decent professional dress. She tightened the shoulder bag tightly and sighed, it's been 2 years. I guess no one will remember Zero back then. Xiaotong, Zero. Well, the gun Zero. The girl smiled. Polaris opened up the White Snow Palace in the past. In the violent stage of the 5th, the saber-toothed tiger brought a group of 10 to grab the boss. The hatred messed up the tank and couldn't hold it. All 4 of Polaris was crippled by the boss, only the Zero state output from a distance is acceptable. Although Xiaotong didn't know much, she could also understand the critical situation at that time from this few words. What happened later? He couldn't help asking. Later, you dare to believe that the saber-toothed tiger was destroyed by the regiment? The girl shrugged and chuckled. Did Zero kill it alone? Xiaotong's eyes widened in surprise. Well, personally sniper, 1 in nearly a second, terribly fierce. It's a pity that the saber-toothed tiger server was maintained just after the destruction, everyone was forced to go offline, and the boss was not finished. The girl sighed slightly, now Zero is hidden. The Z fans back then are all working now, time has passed. Is Zero so good? Xiaotong asked. The girl laughed directly. New fans may not have memories, but no one in the industry would not know Zero Lin Mingfei. It's just because they are afraid of not mentioning it. Xiaotong thoughtfully. I want to play the King's Tomb too, sister, do you know where you can play it? Online clubs are okay. The girl pointed across the street. That Starry Sky Network Club holds PvP leagues every week, but you seem to be an Omega. Yes. Xiaotong nodded. Omega, you take 2 steps to the Sanlu Internet Club over there. The girl said, I'm going to work, I'm not talking anymore. Xiaotong was tired from walking, and chose the Star Network Club nearby. Sing Kong is a large internet cafe with gorgeous decoration and complete facilities. Xiaotong walked in and saw different game zones. Among them, the King's Tombs had the largest zone area. The red and black cocoon-shaped sensors were neatly arranged, and the occupancy rate was extremely high. There is also a viewing area in the distance, a theater comparable in scale to a movie theater. There are a lot of people sitting in it, or looking at the screen seriously or waving their arms and shouting, even through the thick soundproof glass. You can feel the lively and intense atmosphere. The boss at the front desk was watching the live broadcast without raising his head and gestured, get on the machine and go to the self-service machine over there and ask me for a revised meal. Xiaotong followed the directions indicated by the signs to the kiosk. How do you use this? He looked left and right, dazzled by the buttons. At this moment, a person came over and leaned against the self-service machine. Is it the first time for a kid to come to an internet cafe? This one needs to swipe his ID card. It turned out to be like this. Xiaotong suddenly took out his ID card and asked shamelessly, how to use it? Give it to me, and I will teach you to swipe it. The other party took his ID card from his hand, glanced over the Omega at the second sex, raised his eyebrows, and gently stroked Xiaotong's back with his arm. I think get up. The self-service machine here is broken, so I don't issue a card. In this way, I still have an extra card. Come with me and I will give you one. Before he finished speaking, the ID card in his hand was snatched and posted on the magnetic card area, and Xiaotong's identity information was read with a beep. The kiosk is not broken. Xiaotong pointed to the screen in surprise. It wasn't bad at all. The talking was a handsome young guy in a white shirt, with long hair shoulder length, and a black ear stud on his left ear. He leaned on the other side of the kiosk, his face popping out with a painful face. Hand the card to Xiaotong, such a cute little O also lied, brother, do you have humanity? I lied? You old scumbag is ashamed to say me. Alpha glared. I'm Hua Butterfly, you are the next 3, we are different. The handsome shirt guy put Xiaotong's luggage in the locker, and turned around lazily. After Xiaotong is gone, I will take you to the plane. Xiaotong followed with AO and heard the ghost cry of Alpha behind. It's dangerous for you to go with him. His timer is the worst A in the tombs. He was offered a reward for stepping on 2 boats just now. Wacky. Timer said, I just chatted with 2 people at the same time, how come I stepped on 2 boats, the headline party. He led Xiaotong to an empty cocoon and inserted his hand card into the slot. The cocoon was radiant in an instant, and the hatch slowly rose. Sit in and stretch your limbs, pull down the headset-like thing on it, and put it on. You don't have a heart attack, right? Xiaotong shook her head. That's fine. Timer said. Someone passed by and slapped Timer on the shoulder, and looked at Xiaotong teasingly. No wonder, brother, she is very free today. What to do, it's so miserable to be let off by a scumbag. Timer pretended to be helpless and shrugged. Xiaotong couldn't help being a little curious. What scum, eh? It's a dead ghost who has disappeared for 2 years without knowing it. It makes everyone worried and miss it. It doesn't matter if you don't mention it. Timer said, my name is Xia, you can call me brother. Brother Xi. Take the big characters away and call me old. Xia turned her eyes, by the way, what kind of career do you want to play? What do you mean? Xiaotong sat in the cocoon with her legs dangling. Let's play elves like me. It's easy to use, and there are many appearances. Most Omegas play elves, Xia said. Xiaotong thought for a while, is the elves strong against people? Xia was slightly taken aback, why do you still want to play PvP? Can't I play PvP? It's not. Xia pressed her cheek with the tip of her tongue, look at the Starry Sky Club, do you have other Omegas besides you? Xiaotong looked around. From the appearance, she was tall, and she looked like a man, unlike a second Omega. PvP competitions are often held here, so the participants are basically contestants. Xia said. Omega doesn't play PvP? Xiaotong asked. Very few, most of them are casual parties. Xia said, in terms of 1v1 lanes, except for elves, other professions are very strong, but elves are in great demand in multiplayer battles. After all, 3v3 and 5v5 are indispensable. Nanny. I understand. Xiaotong nodded, thank you brother Shi. The hatch slowly lowered, and the striped halo surrounded the entire cocoon. Xiaotong closed his eyes and instantly entered another world. Patter stepping on a hard rock with the breeze blowing her face, Xiaotong opened her eyes, the upper is the boundless blue sky and auspicious clouds, the lower is the 10,000 hectare King's Mausoleum continent, the eagle soars and cuts through the clouds, everything is true to life, strange and magnificent. Xiaotong was stunned. He looked down at his hands and feet, still wearing his own clothes, when he jumped out of the silver-white frame. Welcome to the Wangling continent. Please choose your occupation. Different options popped up below, namely, wizard, hunter, knight, and axe warrior. Xiaotong passed by, and her appearance would change every time she chooses one. The elves are in white and gold gauze, the wizards are caps and robes, the hunters are bodysuits and leather belts, and the knights are iron-colored armor and axe. The fighters are cool fighting shirts. Each profession has a special introduction next to it, as well as the difficulty of getting started. Among them, elves have 1 star to 3 stars, knights and sword fighters have 2 stars to 4 stars, and wizards and hunters have 3 stars to 5 stars. Xiaotong poked these 5 professions back and forth, and finally clicked heavily on the Witcher. A little wizard with a pointed hat in Ginkgo village, the birthplace of the novice, walked through the crowds, and grinned out of a bunch of strong men shouting 20 yuan an hour and 20 yuan for the training belt. The popularity of the Mausoleum of the Kings is unparalleled, and it has spawned a large number of peripheral industries. Sparring is one of them. Xiaotong is a pure newcomer. He wants to experience the fun of upgrading. He has a silvery white corner of his vision. Hourglass, a floating menu will appear when you tap it, which includes items and equipment, task instructions, etc. Xiaotong followed the mission instructions to a small hut in front. At the door of the hut sat a weeping peasant girl with long hair to the waist, wearing a light blue long skirt with fluffy hair, and a name Rukia hanging above her head. Xiaotong patted her and was surprised to find that the texture of the NPC clothes was rough and realistic, and she could even feel the girl's body temperature. Because it is connected to the player's senses, everything in the Wangling continent is infinitely close to reality. The girl raised her head and said to him, Xiaotong, my father is sick, and our family has nothing to eat. Can you get me some? Is wild boar coming? Appears floating on the interface. This is a novice task. Xiaotong clicked and accepted, and went to the woods not far away, where there were many wild boars running around. Seeing a mighty axe warrior slammed a wild boar into the air, Xiaotong followed the gourd drawing and shook her small fist towards a swarthy pig's ass. In the next second, everyone who was doing the novice mission saw a little wizard running through the woods chased by a pig. Mom duck! Xiaotong was frightened. He saw a tree in front of him and climbed up without saying a word. He was holding the trunk and shivering. The wild boar was staring from below, and the blood bar above his head showed 98/100. What happened? People can punch pigs in seconds. He knocked out so much blood with one punch? Xiaotong couldn't help but glance at her own blood bar. 60/100, he is not as good as a pig. Xiaotong is desperate, and the place where the wild boar is arched by it hurts. This game is too real, not just the touch. Even the pain is real. At this time, a notification popped up on the interface, invites you to join the team. Xiaotong agreed without thinking. A purple light hit the wild boar, and with a ding, he received the experience and coins shared by the team and immediately upgraded. Xiaotong was stunned, and saw a purple-haired wizard wearing a gorgeous cloak and long boots approaching and taking his wand to the ground. Of the 5 major professions, only sword fighters attack with their fists. The wand on your back is not decoration, but 2 drops of blood in one punch. You are probably an Omega. How do you know? Xiaotong said stupidly. The combat effectiveness of holographic games is linked to physical fitness. In reality, the better your physical fitness, the higher the basic data in the game. This is why holographic esports is the show of alpha. Love you tonight, said. He raised his staff and killed a few wild boars. Xiaotong Ding Ding went up several levels in a row and saw his skill bar light up. Choose the point of the soul curse, which is convenient for spawning monsters. Love you tonight, said. Xiaotong said oh and slid down from the tree. Tonight, you lowered your eyes to look at him. Your face is pretty good looking. Is it the downloaded data that you pinched? I didn't pinch it, so I clicked the default. Xiaotong answered truthfully while studying the upgrade skills. Love you tonight thoughtfully. Well, where are you from? City. It's a coincidence, me too. Tonight Lian Yu said, it's not easy for a novice to upgrade alone. Come to our team, there will be many kind big brothers who will teach you how to play. Okay. Xiaotong didn't doubt that he had him, and said gratefully, thank you. Invite to join our team's base camp is in City, and we will interact offline tonight. The specific address is in the team's announcement. Remember to come. We will send out strategies to the newcomers. Love you tonight, said. Xiaotong, hey. He didn't expect this, and he started offline activities as soon as he said a few words. He always felt a little sudden, but before he refused, you will be offline tonight. Xiaotong was lost in confusion. He took off the staff from his back and held it in his hand. After learning the posture of loving you tonight, he put a soul-splitting curse on the wild boar. The red electric light shot out and the wild boar fell to the ground instantly. As if he had become a real magical person, at that moment he could even feel the reaction force and slight vibration. Xiaotong was very excited. He finally understood why so many people were addicted to the royal tomb, and at the same time, he was full of gratitude for loving you tonight. So he found the team interface and clicked on it, and saw the announcement that said, tonight at 7 o'clock in the Taewon Club on the 3rd floor of the offline gathering. At 6 o'clock in the evening, the VIP box on the 3rd floor of the Taiyuan Club. Cai Lun, the manager of the saber-toothed tigers, talked about the contract spread on the table. Really Zero, the whole esports circle will be so happy that you can come back to play professionally. Look at you, the sword is not old, and the spirit is still so good. We often tell Dylan to learn more from you. Lin Mingfei put one hand on the back of the chair, his limbs stretched out, his thin eyelids were half drooping, and he looked sad and uninterested. But it was this appearance that made Cai Lun feel uneasy, as if he was facing a lion that was not awake. A little carelessness would provoke the opponent and destroy the entire forest. Cai Lun winked at Du Yong who was sitting beside Lin Mingfei. Du Yong licked his dry lips. Zero, you see that you have been delayed for 2 years. You should find a valuable team as soon as possible to settle down before you can start again. I said hello to manager Cai. He will definitely not treat you badly because of my face. What conditions does Saber-Tooth Tiger intend to give me? Lin Mingfei interrupted him, calmly. Cai Lun hurriedly said, as long as you are willing to come, the transfer fee is 8 million. I remember Dylan is worth 30 million, right? Lin Mingfei said softly. Cai Lun looked stiff, and said with a smile, although it is a bit lower than Dylan, we will consider letting you and Dylan take turns starting. Consider? Take turns. Lin Mingfei smashed these two words between his canine teeth. He turned the contract over and tapped a small line at the end with his finger. If there is any change, the final interpretation right belongs to the Saber-Toothed Tiger Club. He laughed abruptly, when I'm new here, how good is it? This smile made Du Yongru sitting on pins and needles. Although he was once the owner and manager of the Polaris team, he would still be frustrated when facing Lin Mingfei. The esports industry is changing very quickly, but Lin Mingfei is definitely a unique existence. Most people only see the highlight moment of his output as the C position of the Polaris team. They are obsessed with his calm appearance after years of polishing, but they don't know his wild and arrogant past. Wang Ling's full level is 100. Most professional activities are only for full-level players, so early upgrades are necessary. The mainstream way to upgrade is to spawn monsters and do tasks. It is simple and safe, but it takes a little time. This is why sparring the reason why businesses with upgrades are popular nowadays. But in fact, Lin Mingfei didn't play PvE in the early days, but his speed at full level was faster than the average person. There was only one reason. His upgrade path was unusual. He relied on murder. Killing in the wild can get a lot of gold coins and experience, but the risk is high and difficult, so Lin Mingfei's game ID was once the #1 reward for more than half a year, and people kept raising prices. He is notorious in games and forums, to the point where everyone shouts and beats. But Lin Mingfei was not caught until the bounty expired. He was like a real hunter, hibernating in all the hidden places in the Wangling continent, but inadvertently lit up his sniper rifle, taking away the target thousands of miles away. Later, after signing the club, he withdrew from this anti-human gameplay state and gradually got on the right track, but he was still able to create a lot of old yin ratio play styles, which made people love and hate. In the face of ridicule and abuse, he never cared, as if no one could get his eyes. It wasn't until Zero's name frequently appeared on the Hall of Fame that people began to understand that he was arrogant because he had arrogant capital. No one could compare to him on Sniper. Godzi, don't be so serious. Cai Lun smiled and handed the pen over. You sign, I'll call a few Omega from Shuiling to play cards with us, how about? Lin Mingfei tapped his fingers on the tabletop, took Cai Lun's pen holder to the middle finger, and pressed down the index finger. Papa the pen was folded in half and threw it into the arms of Cai Lun, who was pale. Lin Mingfei got up and left. Du Yong picked up his jacket, and chased out with an ugly expression. Zero, don't do this. I won't harm you. He shouted. Lin Mingfei stopped and sneered, Du Yong, did I tell you that after waiting for me for 2 years, I will pay you twice as much for what I have lost in 2 years? Sold. Du Yong swallowed his saliva and roared with difficulty, 2 years, not 2 days. Who knows if you are slandering me? What if you don't come back? Let me guard a broken club and lose money? I know you are angry I force you to make Dylan a small one, but don't feel that you are still the same as 2 years ago. Maybe your current value is not as good as the 8 million I won for you. Yes, Lao Tzu is worthless. Lin Mingfei said. Du Yong choked for a while, and said, I didn't mean that, Zero, I will tell you the truth that I don't want to do this. Then what do you want to do? Lin Mingfei asked. I want to try entertainment media. Du Yong didn't talk much, only pleading, send you away today. From then on, I have nothing to do with Polaris. I felt bad when I sent them away, but they are all doing well now, and I really don't have any bad intentions. You see that we have not known each other for a short time, and it's good to get together today, don't make troubles so ugly, okay? Sign me a Polaris transfer agreement. Lin Mingfei said. Du Yong was stunned. What? Are you planning to do Polaris alone? It has nothing to do with you. Lin Mingfei took a cigarette out of his pocket and lit it. No. Lin Mingfei, do you know how much money is needed to run a club? The league is about to start in 3 months, and you can't even get enough people. Du Yong said in shock. Have you finished? Lin Mingfei said. Unable to do so, Du Yong turned around to get the documents in the car. The two made a handover in silence, and walked halfway towards the sky without saying goodbye. After 2 years of nonsense, Lin Mingfei exhaled a long breath and threw the cigarette into the trash can. This clubhouse was not a serious clubhouse at first glance. Lin Mingfei didn't want to stay too much for a moment. As he walked, he took out his mobile phone and saw dozens of insulting panda heads sent by Xia. He twitched his lips, turned around the quiet corridor, and saw a person outside the front box. Xia Tong. Lin Mingfei recognized the little omega carved in jade. Xia Tong shrank between the front door and the back door of the big box, squatting against the wall, looking up in a dilemma. Just when Lin Mingfei couldn't help trying to figure out whether Xia Tong was here to catch the and who was the person looking for, he saw Xia Tong spread out his arms helplessly at him. Little Omega has frowning eyebrows and a lingering melancholy, and the poor little expression seems to say to hug. Isn't it? A ball of fireworks exploded in Lin Mingfei's mind. Is he here to find me? At the moment when Lin Mingfei's pupils shook the deer, Xia Tong rushed to him with a chuckle, grabbed his sleeves, and turned him to face. Hey! Lin Mingfei didn't know what he meant, and lowered his head to face Xia Tong's slightly raised face, soft and handsome. His watery eyes were pink, and his eyes flickered like a frightened person. Alert little animals! Brother, can you block me for a while? Please, please! Little Omega pleaded pitifully, and the fingers holding his clothes turned white tightly. This brother directly avoided the surname. Lin Mingfei thought that Xia Tong shouldn't forget her surname, but her heart still beats twice uncontrollably, and the blood vessels all over her body expand and become feverish. Lin Mingfei was more than half a head taller than Xia Tong, with broad shoulders and a high waistline, which was more than enough to cover the petite and exquisite Omega boy. At this time, the back door of the back box opened and 2 drunken alphas helped the door out. Ding-ling! Lin Mingfei's mood tightened. It was the sound of a belt buckle. Why do you need to take off your pants in the box? The 2 alphas seemed to be looking for the toilet, and they staggered over. The 2 different types of alpha pheromones gradually became rich, with a hint of sweetness that is not easily detectable. Lin Mingfei was stunned, and his heart suddenly felt like a mirror, a layer of disgust surged. He twisted around Xia Tong's shoulders, half pushed the person to the wall, raised his arms, and cast a shadow on Xia Tong's tall and lofty body, tightly trapping Xia Tong, and at the same time pulled the 2 alphas together. Open distance. Then O is pretty resistant. Hurry up, I haven't had time. Anyway, it's a temporary mark, you will have a chance in a few days. Didn't you say there is another one? I haven't seen it yet. It's also said how beautiful it is. It's a lie to love you tonight, right? The 2 alphas talked vaguely and sneered. Xia Tong suddenly leaned forward, put her head on Lin Mingfei's chest hastily, and took a deep breath. The sudden zero-distance contact made Lin Mingfei unexpected. He smelled a faint osmanthus scent between breaths and breaths, sweet like a very thin and extremely soft cotton thread, stuck in his nose, inside his body. Slowly flirting in a certain place. Didn't this little guy wear a restraining bracelet? Did the bracelet fail? You bear it. He comforted in a low voice, and his gaze glanced over the white soft flesh on the back of Xia Tong's neck, half covered by the chestnut hair, which was very attractive. Lin Mingfei's breathing also gradually tended to be rapid. After a long time, the two alpha disappeared at the end of the corridor. While there was no one, Lin Mingfei hurriedly left the club with Xia Tong. The two crossed the road to a convenience store. Lin Mingfei took a bottle of mineral water on the shelf. I picked another can of banana milk, which is the most popular, and paid for it at the front desk. Xia Tong sat on the seat by the window, her complexion a little better. He put his cheeks in his hands, and his fingers drooped at the corners of his eyes, as if he was many years old at once. Lin Mingfei walked over and was amused by his old man Yan Yi. "Come on, drink some milk to soothe your nerves." He pushed the drink over. Xia Tong rolled her eyes and stared at Lin Mingfei for a few seconds, her mouth flattened, and she complained aggrievedly, "It's terrible QAQ, what's the matter?" Lin Mingfei opened the tab of the can for him. "Do you know the Tomb of the Kings?" "No. I played that game and added a team. They said that I was allowed to participate in offline activities, but when I came, I saw so many of them in the room like this." He made a gesture of loneliness like doing radio gymnastics. Just looking at it, he really couldn't tell what he wanted to express. Lin Mingfei could only figure it out for himself, tentatively, multi-person indoor sports. "Ah yes. The one who doesn't wear clothes." Xia Tong nodded vigorously, filled with righteous indignation. Lin Mingfei just wanted to laugh somehow. So he covered his mouth with his hand. "You're still laughing?" Xia Tong had a lingering fear, seeing Lin Mingfei's reaction almost burst into tears. Sorry, I didn't mean it." Lin Mingfei pressed the corners of his lips, pretending to be serious, but in the bottom of my heart he felt that his angry look was also very cute. "There are many scammers in the game. You must be cautious about offline contacts, especially Omega." Lin Mingfei patiently said, "What is the name of that team?" "It seems to be called Late Night Warmth." Xia Tong thought back. Lin Mingfei nodded to send a message to Xia. "Polaris 0: listen to you, you are going to do something big, take me." "Polaris 0, you can't run away." Lin Mingfei went out to make a phone call and came back soon. Xia Tong had already drunk the milk and was lying on the table in a daze. Lin Mingfei sat across the table and sent a message without urging him. After a long while, Xia Tong said softly, "Brother." "Hey." Lin Mingfei raised his eyelids. Little Omega's lips fluttered, he didn't say a word, and then he shuffled back. Lin Mingfei read a slimy signal for help from the bottom of his eyes. Maybe no one can be in a good mood when encountering such a thing? Lin Mingfei thought for a while and asked softly, "Do you still want to hit the Wangling?" "Yes." Xia Tong's eyes lit up. "Let's go, I'll take you to fight the royal tomb." Lin Mingfei stood up and said. Okay. Xia Tong jumped for joy, and followed Lin Mingfei out of the convenience store like a little tail. Lin Mingfei drove the car in the underground garage and glanced sideways at the front passenger seat. Xia Tong was wearing a seat belt with her head down. She was not well behaved. Lin Mingfei smiled suddenly, "Aren't you afraid that I will sell you? If you want to sell me when you are in the hospital, you can sell it." Xia Tong smiled, showing a mouthful of white teeth. Speaking of the hospital, Lin Mingfei thought about it again, her eyes dimmed. "You don't go home so late, won't your boyfriend be worried?" "Boyfriend?" Xia Tong was blank. "It was the one who took you to the hospital that day." "You mean Zheng Linghuan?" "He is not my friend, and his home is not mine. I will break with him." Xia Tong snorted and lifted up his arms, in anger. Lin Mingfei said "oh" softly, and the corners of her lips raised slightly. "Then where do you live now?" "I don't know, Deben said I should rent a house." "Deben? My good friend." Xia Tong patted his head, "Oh. Deben is still in the locker." While Xia Tong went to the Sing Kong Internet Club to take luggage, Lin Mingfei leaned against the car and smoked a cigarette. The night scene is prosperous, and the biggest advertising screens are playing the new expansion of the King's Tomb and the advertisements endorsed by the saber-toothed tigers. The lights are bright, and countless passers-by stop and watch, casting their admiring eyes. Dylan is really a male god. The variety show he participated in will be broadcast next week. There is a celebrity invitational contest. Chasing. I also bought the new linkage sweater. Don't forget to give Dylan Brush the list. The most popular esports player of the year. I don't know when, Wong Ling's star players have gradually approached like traffic idols. The club has begun to spend a lot of money on the packaging and promotion of the characters, and I don't know how much energy is left for training. Lin Mingfei squinted his eyes and was patted on the shoulder. Big brother Lin. Lin Mingfei turned her head and raised her eyebrows. Why didn't you call me brother? I suddenly remembered your last name. Xia Tong was a little embarrassed. Lin Mingfei couldn't laugh or cry. My brother is very nice. He tilted his head. Our base is empty right now, so I can give you a foothold for a while. Okay, I'll pay you the rent. Xia Tong said with joy, hugging the little robot. No, I'm bored alone, so I just treat each other as a company. Lin Mingfei smiled, and carried the luggage into the rear compartment for Xia Tong. Get in the car. When the car started, the scenery outside the window was woven into a flowing colorful color. Xia Tong lay on the bedside and admired it for a while, and suddenly wondered, brother, can I make money even by playing the wangling? Yes. Lin Mingfei said while turning the steering wheel. A lot of money. It depends on what you have done. You can be a sparring belt to upgrade or you can play professionally. The former is low risk and low profit, while the latter is the opposite. Professional? Is it the same as him? Xia Tong pointed to a shop window passing by. Yeah. Lin Mingfei said, this Dylan is the MVP of this year's Professional League Championship team, and is now a big hit in holographic esports. I watched his last game. Xia Tong pouted to herself, it feels a bit lucky to win. Oh. Lin Mingfei was a little curious, I didn't watch the game, tell me. Xia Tong, finally, he fired 3 shots close to the body, like this, bang, bang. Lin Mingfei's eyes wrinkled slightly. Very hastily, like shaking hands. I fired without aiming. Xia Tong nodded his chin with one hand, of course I don't know how to play hunters, just feel. Lin Mingfei looked at him with more subtle expressions. It seems that I will have to take a good look at this game when I go back. Maybe some people are really possessed by the European Emperor. Xia Tong yawned and leaned her head against the car window. I'll sleep for a while when I'm sleepy, Lin Mingfei said. Yeah. Xia Tong's bright eyes remained half open, and her little nose sniffed lightly. Brother, I especially like the sandalwood scent on you. Good night. He muttered for a while, and died. Lin Mingfei was blinded for 2 seconds and almost stepped on the brakes by mistake. He glanced at the restraining bracelet on his wrist with a serious look. The condition was very new, and it was only a month after it had been changed. Then why can Xia Tong smell his pheromone? I can smell his pheromones, and he can smell mine. He murmured, no? Is the bracelet broken together? In the gloom, the round-headed and round-brained robot suddenly opened its eyes, stretched out its round hand at him, and replied with a flat and straightforward voice, the bracelets of Xia Tong and I are from the same brand. Debon's products must be high-quality products. Please don't give it to you. Lin Mingfei, you are really a chivalrous AI, then how do you explain the pheromone leakage? It's not pheromone leakage, it's susceptibility. Debon said, your match is too high. Lin Mingfei confronted Debon for more than 10 seconds and was defeated. Give a solution. He said, covering his forehead. Go to the store to update the bracelet formula, and give me a cleanup by the way. Debon said. Waiting for me here. Lin Mingfei smiled angrily, is your AI perfect? Debon, Hey, hey! Lin Mingfei. The pheromone problem has to be dealt with. If it is not handled well, it will be troublesome for either party to pass the estrus. Xiaotong slept extremely comfortably this time, and the seemingly non-existent smell of sandalwood lingered on his side, making his muscles and bones numb. Later, the scent of sandalwood disappeared, and Xiaotong immediately regained consciousness. He saw Lin Mingfei back in the car and handed him a suede box. Seeing the little Omega showing a dazed expression, Lin Mingfei thought about it and decided to tell the truth. The sandalwood scent you smell is my pheromone. In fact, I also smelled yours before. Our ABOs are different, and we still need some quarantine measures. Why can you smell my pheromone? Xiaotong flashed her eyes and raised her wrist. I obviously wear a restraining bracelet. Lin Mingfei's ears are thin and red. Because you have a high match with me. This kind of words came out of an alpha's mouth and it seemed like sexual harassment, and there was no basis for genetic testing. Lin Mingfei didn't want to make Xiaotong embarrassed, so he coughed with his fist against his lips. A cry, the bracelet may have expired. I went to the store to replace it for you. They said I smelled like sweet-scented osmanthus red bean paste. Xiaotong suddenly pointed her finger at herself. Is it true? Hey! Lin Mingfei was taken aback. There is no red bean paste. Do you like it? Xiaotong asked. This. Lin Mingfei was knotted by his straight ball. To say this from the ordinary Omega, it is undoubtedly a kind of provocation and seduce, but Xiaotong's expression is too innocent. Lin Mingfei can't help but recall that in the hospital that day, this little Omega stood alone at the entrance of the examination room. No one cares and no one asks, as if abandoned by the whole world. He should ask this because he hopes to be liked by others, right? I like it. He nodded sincerely and surely, it's very sweet. That's good. Xiaotong laughed, as if he was relieved, and opened the flannel box. Inside was a woven red string with 5 cute ceramic kittens strung on it. Lin Mingfei said, look whether you like the style or not, I will pick it casually. So cute. Xiaotong said happily. It's definitely not as good as you did before. Lin Mingfei looked straight ahead, a little embarrassed. I think your previous one looks like a customized one, and the store's stock is not that expensive for the time being. It's better than this one is heavy and old-fashioned. Xiaotong took off the platinum bracelet without hesitation. Tie the red string to your wrist carefully, thank you. It's okay. Lin Mingfei said softly. The SUV parked in front of a dark single-family house. Xiaotong opened the door and got out of the car. He looked up and saw a beautiful inverted triangle logo hung on this unpopular big house. Lin Mingfei walked over and pushed the main switch on the wall with a click, and the silver-white Polaris lit up spectacularly in the dark. The dazzling luster was like a rising star, guiding the lost passers-by. Wow! Xiaotong widened her eyes and trod in after Lin Mingfei. After entering, she saw the spacious living room, artistically designed sofas and chandeliers, bar counter dining room and kitchen, gorgeous and fashionable, so beautiful. This is your home. It's more important than home. Lin Mingfei smiled, it's the club, the base of the team. Are you a professional player? Xiaotong was surprised, and followed Lin Mingfei through the glass room on the second floor, and saw 5 huge cocoons inside. Unlike the black and red cocoon-shaped sensor of the Star Internet Cafe, the cocoon here is uniformly blue and white, with a more advanced texture, and the Polaris logo is printed on the surface. One of them is slightly different from the other 4. The flowing silver spot is the surface of the cocoon outlines the shape of the gun, and finally shows the word 0. 0. Xiaotong lay on the glass and stared for a while, suddenly as if realizing something, she turned her head, 0. Lin Mingfei was dragging the suitcase for him, do you know someone else called 0? No, I remember 0 is very famous. Xiaotong tentatively said, Gun God. Lin Mingfei chuckled, and Ling Er answered badly, "Oh, here it is." Xia Tong was dumbfounded in place. Lin Mingfei led him to a bedroom, opened the door and said, "You pack up, and I will take you to the king's tomb later." "Don't you need to sleep?" Xia Tong asked. "It's okay, I will definitely not fall asleep tonight." Lin Mingfei smiled at the empty base and was full of emotion. In the middle of the night, the moon and stars are sparse in the outskirts of Novice village in the Wangling mainland. With the sound of hula, a swarm of worms rushed out from the depths of the cave. With the terrible jiji sound covering the sky and obscuring the sun, a light cyan cursed light protruded out of the swarm like a dragon, and suddenly spread out into thousands. 10,000 ways, forming a net to tighten the entire worm swarm, and then a dark red light swarm exploded from the center of the worm swarm, and the worm swarm fell to the ground like rain. Ding 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 ding, the experience and money were settled. The little wizard with a pointed hat lay on the ground, holding his head in his hands, and the tip of the staff in his hand was flashing. "I'm scared to death, I'm scared to death." Xia Tong raised her head awkwardly, her hood dropped, and her cute chestnut short hair turned into a chicken coop. She was especially afraid of the realistic hairy touch of the insect swarm. 2. "Don't help me. You're so silky and smooth, you can brush the monsters at level 15 at level 20. It's too powerful for me to get involved." Sitting on the treetop is a long-legged man with a tight leather jacket over his knees. He tied his boots, hit the tree trunk with the heels of his shoes, and wore a beret on his head. He was relaxed and lazy. Xia Tong was happy as soon as he was encouraged. He got up from the ground and shook off the leaves on his body. Lin Mingfei's words are not false. As a holographic game, the attributes of the characters are linked to the attributes of the player, not just physical strength. There will be a short pause between skill casting, which is called the public cooling time. The public CD is linked to the player's mental power. The smarter the player, the more responsive the player will release the skill, the shorter the public CD, and the number of skills that can be released in the same time the more. As soon as Xia Tong brushed a few books, Lin Mingfei discovered his unusualness. He didn't plan to arrange Xia Tong's upgrade road, only taught Xia Tong to be familiar with the basic operations and interface, and then this little Omega was able to learn without a teacher, and jumped up and down to pick up the task in hand in the task. The most powerful thing is that he found that Xia Tong's release skills hardly need any public CD. The public CD of most untalented players will last more than a second. As a professional player, he barely managed to shorten the public CD to a few tenths of a second after years of training. It is rare for Xia Tong to be called a genius. It's not an exaggeration. That's why Xia Tong could observe the anomaly in Dylan's next 3 consecutive snipers. 0. Why your hair color in the game is reddish-brown? Xia Tong curiously asked. Since knowing his ID, this little thing is no longer called his own brother, and I don't know if this is a sign of familiarity. Lin Mingfei felt a little helpless and bent a leg. At that time, it was specially designed to match the anniversary appearance. Changed hair color. Do you all reset the appearance? Xia Tong wondered, could it be that many of the people I saw in the game don't look like this? Aren't you too naive? Lin Mingfei laughed, it's not that everyone looks like me, and it's not that everyone looks like you. At this time, a red big character poster drifted across the world channel. System reminder, you have been added to the vendetta list by. In the blink of an eye, 5 or 6 similar warnings popped out. Xia Tong was stunned and received a message on the secret chat channel. Love you tonight, I kindly take you to play, and you report our team? Xia Tong, I did not report, I just didn't participate in your offline activities. Love you tonight, our team was blocked as soon as you retired. Do you dare to say that it wasn't you? Love you tonight, waiting to be killed and retired, Xiao Baiqi. Xia Tong was stunned, and suddenly realized that when he was in Novice Village, he had a buff sheltered by newcomers. The specific description was that players below level 20 could not be opened for vendetta. Now that the novice village is out, the buff is gone. 10 minutes later, Xiaotong and Lin Mingfei arrived at Nightingale Spring together. This map area has no copies or strangeness. It is a scenic spot. The half-moon-shaped pool is crystal clear, reflecting the bright moonlight and quiet birds on the branches. The branches of the laurel by the water pool are hanging down, hiding a point-eared elf lying horizontally and resting. The elf has long pure gold hair and a long and tall body wrapped in iridescent gauze. The complexion is pure as beautiful jade. With a huge gleaming reward character, this picture is really dreamy and wonderful. Before Lin Mingfei and Xiaotong approached, the elf had opened his azure eyes and jumped up with a shoo, then lightly fell in front of the two. I am waiting for you every time, so you are not afraid that my patience will be exhausted and will abandon you since then. He held his heart with one hand and looked at Lin Mingfei sadly. Then his gaze slowly fell on Xiaotong's face. Xiaotong slowly opened her mouth to him. Brother Shi. Xiaotong. Lin Mingfei. The three pointed at each other and said in unison, you two actually know each other. After a long while, Xia was speechless, the world is so small. Xiaotong smirked twice before Xia reached out and pinched her face. You are so stupid to say that you are stupid, don't you even squeeze your face when you enter the game. Brother Shi, didn't you also use your own face? So does Zero. Xiaotong was pinched and called out ouch. It's okay. People who look good like us don't bother to squeeze their faces. At best, they are coveted by people. Xia smiled, and he suddenly bent down and approached Xiaotong's ears, exhaling bluely, why are you calling me by your name Zero but you are willing to call me brother? Xiaotong flashed her curled eyelashes, hey. Xia scratched his chin with her fingertips, smiling, hey. Xiaotong pressed her thin and soft lips. He couldn't tell the specific reason. In fact, he should be called Lin Mingfei, but subconsciously felt that no matter what his name is Lin Mingfei, he would not be angry. Calling Zero would be more effective. Close to their distance. I don't care what he likes. Lin Mingfei said calmly, I've heard what he called anyway. Xia, hey. Xiaotong smirked again, hey. Xia took a step back and looked at the two solid eyes in shock. No one thought there was anything wrong with this sentence. It seemed that his timer's heart was very dirty, especially dirty. Okay, don't talk nonsense. Lin Mingfei looked at Xia, take it off. Xia's forehead twitched, take it off? What to take off? Lin Mingfei, take off your equipment. Xia's face blushed rarely, and the light passed by the ignorant little wizard, this is not so good. Xiaotong turned around obediently, should I avoid it? When he was about to leave, Lin Mingfei grabbed his little hat and pulled him back. See the reward on his head. Lin Mingfei pointed to Xia and said, 20,000 silver coins, you will have money to repair the equipment if you kill him. Xiaotong looked at Xia's eyes suddenly changed, and her watery pupils flashed with a desire for money, so that's how it is. Xia? Wait a minute, brother? What do you mean? For the money to repair the equipment, the former comrades were stripped and whipped by a little thing. Lin Mingfei, you won't get pregnant if you fight twice. Xia, he's only level 20. I have to stand and let him fight for 10 minutes. I can't fight back yet. Lin Mingfei, you can close your eyes and rest your mind. Xia? Do you still think the scene is not abnormal enough? Zero this old thief. Would you not directly charge him with RMB? Xia was angry. My account is in the trading freeze period. Lin Mingfei said. Then I will give him money. Xia said. Why are you so hypocritical today? Lin Mingfei frowned, you used to take off very refreshingly. Xia, so I am such a man of dust in your heart. In the end Xia gave in. Brother Shi might be ashamed to undress in front of me. Xia Tong said, I am an Omega after all. You think too much, how did you get the reward for him? Lin Mingfei said. Xia Tong seemed to understand a little bit, brother Shi is very popular in the game, right? Well, players who want to hook him up can line up along fragrant ancient road. Lin Mingfei said. But brother Shi has only one heart, and you can't give it to others if you give it to one person, Xia Tong said. Lin Mingfei didn't speak up, his expression seemed a little hard to say. At this time, Ye had already taken off her equipment. The male elf had blonde hair at the waist, fluffy and flowing, with a white and strong chest, slender legs, and a layer of shame on his thin waist. The beauty was difficult to distinguish between male and female. Xia Tong let out a soft yeah with a stunning expression. Come on, make a quick fight. Xia's face was full of forbearance and determination, use your most powerful tricks to insult me. I'm sorry then. Xia Tong bowed respectfully and pulled out the staff from his back. You old thief, can you start? Xia pointed to Lin Mingfei and said, I'm very disappointed in you. Okay. Lin Mingfei chuckled, I'm going to practice guns. Call me when you are done. Xia stood there to make Xia Tong tick a few times without pain or itching, and it felt like that. He couldn't help but yawn. He glanced sideways at Xia Tong, only to feel that this little Omega focused on casting spells. Stupid and cute, his hair is still up and down. Want to pull? Hey, Xia Tong. He said, did Zero tell you bad things about me? Ah? No. He said that a lot of people like you. Xia Tong said, he was distracted. A light burst on the staff crack, and smoke started to appear. He was taken aback. Flicking and blowing again, Xia walked over and covered the top of the wand with her hand. The light gleamed under her palm, and the wand stopped smoking in an instant. The elves don't need weapons for their skills, are they awesome? Xia Tong said that she had been so badly, her big eyes were round. Xia leaned slightly and whispered, Xia Tong, I'm not like that in front of other Omegas. Xia Tong expressed his disbelief, are you not so good in front of other Omegas? That's not true. I didn't mean this. Xia felt that she was a bit abnormal today, as if she was overly concerned about her impression in Xia Tong's heart. To blame it was Lin Mingfei's sorrow operation, which defeated his favorability. He must not let the Zero Thief alone. Alone beautiful. 10 minutes later, Xia was struggling to be taken away by Xia Tong. The two met at a nearby resurrection point. Xia Tong took the bounty and repaired the equipment. Xia also put on her clothes. Debuff was weak, but he recovered the appearance of Jiu. He patted Xia Tong's shoulder and said, actually, Zero is also pretty, but I'm Mingseo, he's Menseo, and Menseo is better than Mingseo. It's more terrifying. This again involves Xia Tong's knowledge blind spot. He rubbed his forehead with his stick, I don't think he is better than you. People who like him don't line up a whole long Xiong Gudeo. Xia, how does he compare to you? Xia Tong, yet. Xia, my day. Xia Tong paused and cast her dense eyes, Zero is not only liked by no one, but he is also ridiculed by others. I think he is so pitiful, he should be treated better. It's right to be ridiculed by someone, but you say that nobody likes him. You may have some misunderstanding about him. Xia's face was blank, and at this time, a colorful gift suddenly exploded in the vast night sky. Flower. Wow! Xia Tong said in surprise, look so good. Xia, this firework is called Romantic Venus. It is dedicated to the confession of local tyrants. Everyone on this map can see the firework effect. When the two talked, they saw that the firework spelled zero, like a stream of fireflies. Xia Tong was stunned for a moment, and subconsciously glanced at the world, just to see a line of gold-pink posters drifting by swagger. Sweet Sakura ignited Romantic Venus and announced to the world, Xia Tong, Xiao Tong, Polaris_0? Dylan stood face to face with the target in the self-built camp of the saber-toothed tigers. He wears the latest championship customized look. The tights are designed with special forces elements. The dark blue and black prints are extremely luxurious and wild. They are a symbol of honor. The members of the saber-toothed tiger team don't want to take them off. Dylan's face was very gloomy, incompatible with these glamour. The target in front of him was densely packed with bullet holes. He was trying to recover his stunning 3-game streak on the day of the finals. This skill of the hunter is called condensing shot, which is the main output skill. The line of sight is the trajectory. The farther away from the target, the faster the line of sight is formed. The more shots in the same time, but the distance itself will increase. The difficulty of hitting, because the target is too far away, will easily leave the field of vision, which causes the hunter to frequently change the squatting stronghold. The reason why the difficulty of this profession is 3-star to 5-star is because many people have difficulty grasping the output distance and aiming accuracy, which ultimately leads to a lonely game. High-end hunter players have good output in all teamwork, but there are also very obvious shortcomings. No outbreak. No outbreak means that both consumption and harvesting require the assistance of teammates, so in most absolute headwind situations it's hard to come back from the hunter. Only one person in the whole King's Tomb can overcome such shortcomings, and that person is Zero. Dylan's posterior molars clenched slightly. Zero invented an extreme style of play called close sniper. When the distance between the hunter and the target is negligible, then there is no so-called trajectory deviation. But compared to knights, axe warriors, and elves, hunters have a fragile body and extremely weak survivability. A close-range attack is tantamount to exposing themselves to danger. If they are not careful, they will die suddenly. Therefore, this kind of personal sniper style requires excellent psychological quality. Dylan tried for many days and found that he couldn't do it. He couldn't fully fit the target in a calm and relaxed manner, but once he opened a certain distance, the aiming line would not be formed and the bullet would deviate. Not to mention 3 shots into one hole, so far he has not even 2 shots into the same hole. So, the 3 shots he made in the finals, the 3 shots that people talk about, are simply accidental. Dylan was depressed for a long time, but he saw the name he least wanted to see on the World Channel in the middle of the night. Polaris_0. The name has been grayed out for 2 years, and now it is lit again, like a silent ancient demon suddenly awakening, accompanied by the worship of countless believers, about to reshape the world. But Dylan has just ruled the world. He couldn't accept it. He shot the target frantically, smashing the target into a sieve, and finally got off the line furiously. The hatch rose slowly, and Dylan jumped out of the cocoon, wiped his acne and oily forehead, and turned to the bedroom. Halfway through, he was caught by the manager Cai Lun. Big incident. Cai Lun said, "Zero is coming back." It's not necessary, it's already back, and the major esports sectors will have to explode tomorrow. You are afraid that it is not a loneliness to recruit security? Dylan said angrily. Cai Lun smiled sullenly, I didn't expect him to be so arrogant, but you don't have to worry too much. Unlike in the past, Polaris has been destroyed by Du Yang, and Zero alone is not good enough. Manager Cai, you should do things properly. Dylan patted Cai Lun on the chest with the back of his hand, don't give him time to develop. It's best to just press him to death in the cradle. Cai Lun licked his lips. You're right, we are all in the limelight now. It's hard to come by, but we can't make him go. He squinted gloomily, I'll contact the public relations department now. Hey wait! Dylan called him. Is there someone in Polaris who is still here as a substitute? Cai Lun said, Ping Shui, his ID is Ping, he was the starting wizard of Polaris 2 years ago. He came over as soon as Zero left. I spent a lot of money. Dylan frowned. Did he play? Cai Lun, no, Why do you want him to play for the goblin? Dylan despised. I said, I don't have any impression at all. Do you have a lot of money and nowhere to spend? Give someone an old age. Cai Lun held up a finger and shook it with a profound meaning. You don't understand this. What I am guarding against is today. Guess if Zero comes to dig someone, Ping will go with him. At this time in the Wangling continent, Xia Tong's small mouth squashed, and he asked Lin Mingfei's soul bitterly. Lin Mingfei, who was opposite, seemed dead and did not respond for a long time. This wave of car overturns came too timely. It is simply delightful to see. Xia was about to collapse on the ground with a smile, and he could fully imagine how wonderful the face of the dog man Zero was now. In fact, Xia Tong's misunderstanding of Lin Mingfei is really deep. When Polaris was popular at the time, how popular Lin Mingfei was, it was not a matter of not standing full of ancient roads. Mrs. Lin stood hand in hand and stood in a row, which could go around the country for 3 weeks. There are also reasons for these. First of all, Lin Mingfei said that the handsome face is so long that he can directly take the cover of the magazine when he pulls it out. Even if he is not in business, there are not many people who are ruthless. The personality is exquisite. Although esports is changing rapidly, there will always be a market for handsome guys, and Xia has a deep understanding of this. But Xia Tong's innocence was beyond his imagination. Xia looked at Xia Tong's eyes slightly more subtle. Soon, Lin Mingfei, who was convicted of bigamy, came over, her forehead twitching vigorously. It's all messy. He frowned, and pulled Xia Tong's small arm to turn the person around. Face to face, he slightly lowered his voice, warning, they are not my wife. None of them are. Did you hear it? Husband or something. That's fan culture, and I don't have the right to restrict what they say. Xia Tong is half knowledgeable. Nane, fan culture. Lin Mingfei flew a stab at him, and said to the male elf, who almost laughed with pleats, don't laugh so much, make it clear. Good, good. Xia didn't think it was too big to see the excitement. Xia Tong, don't look at our God Z now so depressed. Anyhow, he was also popular before. Fans like him will give him various nicknames and use various nicknames. Rhetorical description, in addition to husband and elder brother and dad, you will get used to it when you read more. You shut up. Lin Mingfei was indifferent. Xia Tong uttered ah seemingly, her curled eyelashes trembled, like a butterfly fluttering, then, I'm making a joke again. The more he thought about it, the more he felt his reaction became too intense. The white and tender cheeks bulged and dyed a thin layer of red. You guys, chat, I'll go to do the task and upgrade, see you later. He hurriedly threw a sentence and ran away embarrassedly covering his little hat. Up. Xia leaned back and laughed with her waist in her waist. This little thing is so cute, I actually think it's good to give him a whip if it's naked. I think you need a cage. Lin Mingfei is indifferent. JPG. There is no gap between the two of them. They have known each other for the longest time in the team and have the strongest relationship, so even if they haven't been identified, they have already reached a tacit understanding. Lin Mingfei hugged her arms and breathed a sigh of relief, and suddenly said, why didn't you find a home? The best team I've ever stayed with is no one to look down on. Xia lazily said, there are still 2 months before the league. Are you planning to recruit new players or? No plan. Lin Mingfei said, you old things are priceless. Then you have to be ready to hit the nail. Xia laughed, I don't know the others, but that boy Zhou Yanjun, now he hears the homophones of these 3 words Lin Mingfei will blow up his hair. No? It's been 2 years, didn't he make any progress? Lin Mingfei took a breath. That's definitely not possible without a little bit of progress. Xia looked at the time with her arms around her arm. He is on the number in the middle of the night every day, and it feels like the time is almost up. I have turned off the permission to add friends. Lin Mingfei said, you send me his ID and I will add him. Shia copied and reposted KUQ_fire, KUQ stopped in the semifinals this year. I watched the game, and the others couldn't keep up with Fire's offensive rhythm. Well, I also watched the recording. Lin Mingfei said, Fire was the leader in our team. In their team, Fire was like Alaska with a dog on a leash, and the 4 people were sneaking on him. Shia, then you should be quite hopeful after you dug him back. Have you added him as a friend? Added. Lin Mingfei whispered. How come there is no movement after adding it? Shia wondered. Lin Mingfei looked at his friend's private chat interface with difficulty. System, KUQ_fire, myself? Polaris_0, KUQ_fire, Lin. Bright. Fei. You actually dare to come back? 2 years. Why don't you? KUQ_fire, I thought you were fucked. The monuments are all set up for you. You are you. Lin Mingfei took a deep breath and looked at Shia in disbelief. From an average of a string of asterisks per sentence to half of a sentence is asterisks, is this what you are talking about? Shia stretched her hands, this can be regarded as a kind of growth by reluctance. Lin Mingfei was drunk. Polaris_0, considering going back to Polaris? KUQ's environment is too comfortable and will limit your ascent space. KUQ_fire, shoot Laozi when you leave, and call Laozi to go home when you come back. Is Laozi your dog? Polaris_0, you come back and I will take you to the championship. Polaris_0, or do you think it's good to be an heiress pig in KUQ? KUQ_fire, Lin Mingfei. IU. KUQ_fire, let me tell you my fire was sprayed to death. Outside of death, I will never win the championship in this life. Nor will you return to Polaris to play a game with you. KUQ_fire, go away.